Today was a fairly productive workout for back and triceps compared to the past couple of weeks. I think I fully adapted to the workout after a couple weeks of doing it. So I've upped everything to the level of reps that I'm looking to do with these full time. So 12 reps on majority of exercises, 10 on others, but with the full amount of sets. Some of the ones I've done more regularly, I went ahead and started upping the weights on. To be honest, I think that actually, you know what, that might have only been the French press at the end, where I have been kind of doing that regularly. But everything else, I spent the first week kind of finding the weight I wanted to work at. The second week, approaching a set structure to where I started out high and then went lower and lower and lower with each subsequent set, just to kind of get used to it at the higher weight. And then now I've settled in on the weights I want, and was able to move through everything pretty effectively, in my opinion. One thing I focused on a lot in these straight arm pull downs is trying to avoid a lot of the swinging with my body, or kind of cheating the weight a little bit, and I feel like I accomplished that fairly well. I didn't get to a point where I was feeling pretty much dead with the weight like I did in previous weeks, as I was just kind of figuring everything out. And it's all, action with the lats and the traps. Well, not so much the traps, but like the rhomboid, the lat, to be able to just kind of pull this down. And there is a little bit of like shift back and forth with my body as I'm doing this, but I think that's just the nature of this, using this loading pin and a pulley setup just to do it. It's not the most effective setup in the world to do this exercise with, but it gets the job done. And at least one thing I was able to do, I'm not sure how it's induced compared to other times, but the pin was rotating so that it acted as like a gyroscope and kept it all in place, and made it pretty easy. I did actually, I take that back. At the end of this set, I think for the last 2 reps, I did have to pause and kind of break tension in it, just because I was exhausted. No, actually, it's only the last. So I think next week I'll try upping the weight a little bit in that. So probably 60 pounds in the last set, maybe 57 and a half. I gotta feel, or at least kind of feel out how that difference feels. The crossbench tricep dips are starting to feel pretty easy now. Nothing too crazy on these. The only thing that I could really do to kind of make it more difficult or add more to it would to maybe be like put a plate on my lap as I'm doing these reps, just to kind of add a little bit more weight. But at the end of the day, the thing that's going to benefit me the most is just having an actual like dip bar to use for working out. And at least with the squat rack that I have picked out, that should be something I'll be getting with it. I've been kind of looking over things. I just got to make sure it fits in my basement. But I'll be looking to get like a Rogue Monster Light 690, and getting with that the dip station and the strap safeties on them rather than the safety bars. Just because if I drop the weight, I want to be able to prevent my barbell from getting damaged from by bouncing off of the safeties, and I don't want to have to replace the safeties every time that I were to drop it, if I were. But I've already got that picked out. I just got to make sure it fits, and if it doesn't, then I got to rethink things. But I'll be able to get by the setup I have now. I just prefer to kind of get something better moving forward. There were things I've been looking at too, with like a cable crossover attachment that you can get on that, but I really don't know how well that's going to do, especially with that setup. Just because I don't know if it's going to work well. A lot of the reviews I've been seeing online for it are kind of mixed in terms of the quality of the machine, and it seems that if I were to get one that actually works, then it would work great. But it seems a lot of those are kind of few and far between. There's stuff by like Hulk Fit or like Pure Fitness or something on Amazon where they're like $300-400, and it's like wings that come out of the front of your squat rack to help create that cable crossover for you. And I think that'd be pretty cool to have. And it could be even something that you hook up together and just run independently instead of actually having it on your cage itself, which would be pretty cool. But at the same time, if I were just to stick with Rogue and just buy their things, and it'd be quite a bit more expensive, but I know that it all works together, and I know that it's a good quality, piece of equipment. So it's kind of one of the things that it's been on my mind about how I want to approach it. But at the same time, I don't have to get all of these right away. I can make do with other things for the time being until I get to a point to where I decide, okay, time to upgrade and get these things. At the very minimum, I can just buy a bracket and put it on the squat rack, the cage, and use that with the loading pins instead of having to try to get it on the joists like I have it right now. And I might be able to break something up to make it work a little bit better. Outside of that, touching back on the actual, workout, the T-bar rows looked pretty good. I was able to avoid doing a lot of the shifting with my legs to be able to pull that weight up as I was going through and doing the reps, and really focus on making sure that I'm using my back and my biceps to pull that weight through. And I think I'm going to sit at that weight for a little bit longer and just kind of feel it out before I start really kind of working with it, so I make sure I'm not cheating the weight at all. And kind of the same thing for the landmine presses. I was able to get through all 4 sets at 10 reps at 70 pounds, and wasn't anything where I felt like completely beat trying to do. So it was all fairly doable, nothing outside of my bounds. And I think next week I'll try doing 1 set at 75, so the 4th set, to kind of see how that goes. I'm imagining it's probably going to be a struggle. The 4th set today was a little bit of a struggle, but I didn't get to a point to where I had to stop, for an extended period of time in the middle of the set to be able to keep going. I was just had to take a quick rest pause and then keep going. But it didn't get to a point to where I had to cheat the rep like I had in weeks previous, where I really had to kind of shoot it up or lean into it to be able to finish out the rep. It was all just purely, a strong press to be able to get that done. So overall, going well there. So there's that rest pause. And, I'm feeling feeling stronger. My arms are, again, like I have mentioned before, they're looking bigger. My chest is looking bigger. My back is feeling more, full. So it's definitely having an effect on my upper body, and I think I'm getting to a point to where I can start squatting and deadlifting again. So I might try that again on Saturday. If not Saturday, maybe someday next week, and just kind of tentatively attempt it, just to see how it feels. I don't think I'll try to max out. I'll probably just keep a lightweight 270 or something on deadlifts, and then 225 or 250 on squats, just to feel it out and see how things are moving. Yeah, hopefully I can kind of get back into the swing of that soon, because I am really missing doing that quite a bit. It's kind of understated just how much I really enjoy doing those 2 movements, and not being able to do them really sucks. Beyond that though, these French presses, pretty good. I really enjoy doing these. They're one that I can get a pretty good activation on the triceps with, and be able to really kind of feel that muscle push through and kind of use a good amount of the strength in it. Like I mentioned earlier, I did 3 sets at 42.5 pounds, and ended up doing the last set at 45. And even that last set at 45 pounds was fairly easy. And kind of surprised myself at just how easily I was able to go through that. There's really no pause at all in the reps. There's no kind of hesitation going through and doing it. I just sat down and cranked it out. So I'm pretty happy with how that went. I'm looking forward to next week with this, where I'll be doing 45 pounds for 2 sets, and I think that should be fairly doable. I just need to kind of put myself through the motions and start pushing these weights now and start developing a bit more strength in the back.